spring. Slowly but surely, animals begin to stir in response to nature's wake-up call. All over the melting ice, caddisfly larvae emerge as adults. Nearby, another creature stirs after his long winter sleep. The young male Korean toad did finally manage to find a partner before going into hibernation. But although he found a mate, he won't be fathering any baby toads this year because his partner was already dead. The toad's natural drive was so strong that he spent the entire winter hugging her lifeless body. Other couples fared better. By clasping a mate before hibernation begins, the male not only protects himself from the ice, but also ensures that he can fertilize her eggs the moment they both awake. Fatherhood is guaranteed. Mating produces a rope of toad spawn full of tiny tadpoles developing inside. The male frogs, too, scramble to find mates. They produce round eggs, spheres of life protected by jelly. As winter shrinks back, spring plants burst forth. Among the first to bloom is the Adonis amurensis, known in Korea as a symbol of hope. Within the DMZ fences, the roe deer feasts on new shoots and young buds. Inside her body, the fertilized embryo has finally attached itself to her uterus. Now it begins to grow rapidly. The doe's mate also lives inside the fences of the DMZ. The boundaries prevent animals from moving around freely, which could lead to inbreeding. Animal populations must mix in order to keep the gene pool healthy. The boars, too, could face the same problem. For now, though, all is well. The matriarch has left the sounder for a few days to give birth, but she'll soon be back with a brand new litter. And Korean conservationists are already talking of making holes in the fences to allow animals to move freely in and out of the DMZ. Some political boundaries have already come down, allowing a few lucky human families to be reunited. More than a quarter of those who live in the south have relatives in the north they haven't seen since the 1950s. In 2000, the world's media packed into the reunion building in the Truce village. As part of the process of reconciliation, hundreds of North Koreans visited the South. The South Koreans welcomed them as heroes. Families separated since the Korean War finally met again. These two men haven't seen their brother for nearly 50 years. For them, as for everyone, the occasion was a time of emotion and sorrow at the lost years, but also of great excitement and hope for the future, because it seemed to signal the end of Korea's darkest days. In another gesture of peace, the South Korean government allowed North Korean prisoners of war to repatriate. Many had spent years in prison because they refused to accept a South Korean identity. Some hadn't been home for 40 years or more. A new chapter of history on the Korean peninsula has begun. In the accidental reserve of the DMZ, nature once again lays claim to the land as plants begin to anchor themselves into the soil. The corrals are safe here, at least while the DMZ remains untouched. The boar matriarch has produced a healthy new litter of stripy piglets. As they emerge from the nest, they begin to explore their new home in the DMZ. The piglets' stripes help to camouflage them on the forest floor, but after 6 months, they will darken to look more like their mother. Meanwhile, the two Korean leaders took every opportunity to show their commitment to reunification. In 2000, at the Sydney Olympics, North and South Korean teams paraded together during the opening ceremony. Work to build new transport links between the two countries is already underway, and hundreds of goodwill messages cover the sleepers on what will be the first railway to reunite the North and South. There are many other plans to build more bridges, both real and political, between the North and South. Seoul has become a well-developed city, willing to share a peaceful future with the North. The ancient city wall, Namdaemun, is South Korea's biggest national treasure. This remnant dates back 600 years. Another, much younger treasure could bring great pride to all Koreans, while playing a unique role in the reunification process. Industrial sites and urban centers have already wiped out most of South Korea's natural ecosystems. But within the DMZ and the buffer zone, nature has had a unique chance to recover, and it has done so spectacularly. During the long years of war and hostility, free from human interference, it developed of its own accord into a unique natural sanctuary, home to more than 2,000 species. Peace, ironically, could spell disaster if the governments allow business interests to develop the area. The guards were once unintentional wildlife guardians in this accidental nature reserve. It's thought that over 600 animals and plants here may be rare or threatened, and environmentalists are calling for the DMZ to be made into an official wildlife sanctuary. If their campaigns succeed, Korea's war zone could become a peace park, an extraordinary wonder from the aftermath of war.